horticulturist, you need to be an artist to be a mason, whereas the walls would be crooked. You know, you need to be honestly, you need to be an artist to be a plastic surgeon. You need to be an artist to do anything that you do in life. You need to be an artist to be a writer, to be a poet, to be a singer. So basically what we don't realize is that we're actually, those of us who are good at what we do, it's because we are artists, you know, primarily. So we're all artists. So to round it off, basically, I think art, design, you know, two sides of the same coin, inseparable, and we need design because basically it's the only way to innovation. It's the only way to progress. You know, every Kofi Annan said I shouldn't use the word wood. Every epoch had its own design. So, you know, when we talk of, I did mention this to Augustus, and actually in certain languages, when you say something is design, that word alone means that it's something innovative, something sleek, something refined, you know, something streamlined, so it's not cluttered. So that's what design represents to me. And I think on this note, I pass the mic to Augustus.
Wonderful. First of all, let me start by thanking, you know, the AID and Aki Africa. The reason I'm doing that is you know, the kind of people who've been here, and I've been sitting in the crowd watching Francis Kere, who I have great respect for as an architect, and David Ajay. So when I got the invite, I was wondering, what can I even offer, and what is Joe thinking about? But I'm happy to be here. I think the question is, you know, why does design matter? So it's important to define design in some sort of sense. You read a lot, and all the great architects have some description for design. But I think, for me, the description of what design is came some 4 years ago when I was running an internship in the office. And one of the many students who came by, because every time I kept saying good design. So again, the topic manifest, if you allow me, I think it's why good design matters, because there's also bad design. So I'm just trying to get it right. He kept asking, what is good design? And I think I sat there for about a minute and thought about it mathematically, and then wrote an equation. You know, that good design is equal to good design, but remove one O and it becomes the God design. And I think what I told him was that, you know, design is linked to nature. Everything that man has created has come from that inspiration, and I link it strongly to that creator, God, who puts it in us. I mean, people call it genius, but it gets to a point where you have to come up with an idea, and sometimes, I don't know if you share with me, you sleep and wake up the next morning and everything is resolved in some sort of manner. You need that genius, you need that spark. So that became my definition, which simply also goes to say that it's linked to everything that we see. It's everything around us is designed. The chairs you're sitting in is designed. The clothes you're wearing is designed. The lights, the lighting system, the building we are in is designed. So design is really critical when you think about it. When I read it, one of the descriptions that came out that made it even drive it even home was that design is intelligence made visible. All right. So everything that we do, everything that is in our mind, we have to be able to find a way of articulating that to explain, you know, our feelings, our emotions, our concepts, and our philosophies. And going to your question about how it is we approach it, I'm a stickler for anybody who comes to my office. It's really about the philosophy and the concept that you are about. If that concept and philosophy doesn't really resound with what we are doing, it's going to be very hard for us to work together. And I mean that for clients and for students. So I think that philosophy is a very critical thing. It's a very simple thing. I think throughout teaching, people sort of confuse it, but I think it's very simple. It's your belief system. So if you're a Muslim, you're a Muslim. That's your philosophy. If you're a Christian, you're a Christian. But when you come into architecture, we start sort of linking it to the modernist movement, contemporary architecture, brutalist, all the various types. So that is the core. You need to sort of have what you are about, and then based on what a client, based on what a client's brief is, based on what a client's site and location is, and all the research that you do, you need to sort of take all of that in mix with your philosophy and create a concept that suits his budget. So, I mean, and relating it to architecture and skewing in, I think that this is my response to what architecture is and what design is.
Wow, after such elaborate definitions of design, the epochs of design and the periods and all that, I'm not aware. You see, I've read a lot about design. I live design. Some people even call me a designer, but I forgive them. I'm just trying to make a living. What is design? I went into design. Art is my family heritage. But then design is the quartering, the discipline of the art into a functional commodity. I don't want to use big words like these, so if I digress, please forgive me. Without design, there's chaos. Design is discipline. Life is governed by rules and regulations. And design just helps make sense out of the chaos. If you enter a building, there has to be a front door to enter the building. If I enter a building, I cry here and I walk straight into the living room, I think there's something wrong. I need a slight reset before I go into it. If you go into the office and you put somebody in a bridal gown, I think something is not. I'm not talking about you. But I think one French philosopher, I think Baudelaire or something like that, I can't remember where, he said, to create something new, you have to destroy something. Destroying is easy, rebuilding is difficult because design, as I said, there are rules and regulations. I've got a very highly esteemed friend here who is the Justice of the High Court. I have to be very careful what I say about the law. But design avoids anarchy. So I don't want to go into the literal sense of design. I've read about design being, what makes innovation productive and all that, people have different ideas. But my daily take on design is how does it benefit us? How does it improve our lives? Because we design a school to let children learn well. You design a city to be functional, to enhance commerce and business. Why is New York straight streets? They have the avenues and then you have the street, the Broadway is the street. And you come to Accra, sometimes getting from A to B. It's difficult. So Joe, you got a lot of work to do. And we really need to study the effects of design to use it to improve our lives. I'm a disciplinarian when it comes to design. I am a perfectionist. When I make a garment to put it on someone, it has to look like that garment was made for that person. She didn't go and borrow it. And so sometimes the client will say, oh, but okay, it is not your design. You are just borrowing this garment here to wear. The only difference is you paid me for that privilege. But I'm jealous of my design. So to me, design is life. As my young architect friend just said earlier on, I dabbled in a bit of architecture in my spare time, so that was lost on me over there. It's just a discipline. So how we use it to create a productive existence, maybe that's what we're going to discuss tonight. That's my take on it. Thank you.
Wow, a lot of things coming out already. Design is discipline. Deliberate versus inspired. Concept and philosophy. I mean, when I actually had this topic, I thought it was very why design matters. You're talking about everything, and as we've witnessed from what they are saying, we're talking about designing legal systems, designing buildings, designing education systems, designing everything. So for me, as much as it's a very exciting topic, at this stage, it's very daunting for me. So can you make it real for us? Can you make us know what good design looks like, what it feels like? Give us some examples in your work and in your view of what that is. And I'd like to start with Augustus in this one.
Thank you, Manfred. I think there's a slide that was showing, maybe if you run through that. Yes, please. Okay, so let's think about it. What is good design? What does it look like? Let me use my approach. I think, again, going back to the issue of philosophy, there are those things you believe in and that you cannot sort of separate yourself from. So a lot of young architects, and I'm sure many of them in the audience, will tell you a client will approach and show you an image, right? I saw this here and I want this. And I'm thankful to say I've never done that. It's a very hard thing to do because you're going to lose a lot of people who just don't understand what it is. But I think I'll relate it to ourselves as individuals. And I was telling Dee earlier that I think everybody wants to be unique. And I'll throw the question out to the ladies in the crowd. If you came here wearing, and I was asking Dee, if you came here with this outfit, and we came here and we saw somebody dressed exactly like that. That wasn't the answer you gave to me. But you won't be too excited about it. You want to feel unique. And that is evident in everybody. So, and then
not to stop you, but can you tell us what we are seeing? Can you go back so that before you continue, because
no, let him keep rolling. I'll come to. So I'm sort of laying a foundation. So I've realized that everybody wants to be unique, and it's important then to realize that not everybody wears everything. All right, there are people who I love Kofi Ansah's work. I was excited to see him on the panel and just wanted to discuss what it was, and also his work because it's really just out there. But it's not everybody who would like what they are doing. All right, so immediately the designer needs to realize that he has his niche market. I relate it to having friends. There are those who like you. There are those who don't like you or who can't get along with you. So the first thing is you have to realize that just as you look, you have those who like you. If you're a designer, it's the same thing. There are those who would flow with your philosophy. So it's for you to keep pushing that agenda and making sure that you meet those people. For me, I believe in simplicity. And that's a very complex word in itself. But I believe that one has to go to the bare bones. I believe in timelessness. I think that for some of the most beautiful buildings in our landscape, like the Scott House, and I think nobody here who knows the Scott House will say it's not a beautiful building. I was happy to realize that the Scott House was done in 1957. And even now, you would wonder if it was built yesterday. That timelessness spoke to me. I was lucky. I went to school at Northridge like you. And every day as I drove past that building, I've said this on many platforms, it spoke to me. And I think it's because of it reducing all of it to its objective. And so that's my philosophy. I try to create spaces that will resound with a lot more people and will touch them. And the only way it does that is for you to objectify. If you subjectify and use yellow or red, if somebody doesn't like it, he's wondering, do I really like it? So that sort of governs the design philosophy that we sort of play with over at Mobius Architecture, which is a firm that I run with Sam Adebi in attendance. Now, with that in mind, we don't start with a form in mind. We take what the client is looking for and we try to resolve the problem. We try to look at the brief and we analyze that brief, okay? And then we look at the best material. So it's a discussion. The project that you are showing right now is a project I call The Bridge. And the client is in the audience. Madam Iwa Afifa Taylor. If I was here, she can just read. Yeah. The reason why I mention her is that she's, for me, an exceptional client who understood the philosophy. And trust me, nothing you see there has changed. The building is in East Legon. We believe that we can change the building, the landscape, one building at a time. So we went into a neighborhood and we sort of asked all the questions. We saw all that was good about it and all that was bad about it. Actually, there was an existing building on site. And through a lot of analysis, I wanted to work with the existing building. We wanted to do a new building. So we sort of approached it, in two ways. And when she saw this product, everything changed. And that's what we as designers must do. We must challenge what we see. It's a building that sits in the landscape, and people, I'm sure you've had so many people go there and ask who designed this. And that's also a problem because in their minds, that's why I think you asked, did you design that? Because good design shouldn't come from Ghana, in some sense. I'm coming. No, I'm just relating to other things. But people think when they see certain things, it shouldn't be coming. We are not a design-oriented sort of people, but I believe that we are. And I think that as one designs these spaces, whose philosophies are based on everything that is radical, the bottom of the building is so open, and it's going to be exactly like that, because I believe that first of all, God made us for a garden. If you read the Bible, it doesn't talk about creating a building for man. He put him in a garden. So I drive around and I see all these buildings that sort of cut you off from nature. And for the likes of me, I've never understood it. I've never understood it because we have the best weather in these parts. We have a great weather. It doesn't snow here. It doesn't get to very bad temperatures, cold or warm. And why do we then cut ourselves off? We're very colorful people. We love playing on the outside. So those are some of the ideas that we started playing with this, from, and also what the client wanted. So it was sort of the master of all you survey, isn't it? If you're on a ship, the captain stands on the bridge. So that's why we call it the bridge, because upstairs is the master bedroom. And a place with just simplicity, light, lines. It's very complex in structure. We've done very interesting things in that building, and it's not easy to just perceive by what it is you see. So I believe in intelligence, and that's how I approach design. I think that the African is complex. I was just discussing with Dee that one of the projects we want to engage in is taking Adinkra symbols, right? Now that's frightening, just hearing that. But not traditionally just putting them on the wall. Because I think that is too literal. That's the baser instincts, isn't it? We are more complex people. So it's taking those symbols and their meanings and going into what is more abstract and seeing what we can create. I think that's what we speak to as a design firm.
I'd like to get to you. What does make it more concrete for us? What does good design to your work and your world?
Okay, in my world, I think a good design is one that flatters the person that I'm made an outfit for. Therefore, I can make the most gorgeous dress or something that, I think it's better than Christian Dior. But if whoever I made it for doesn't look good in it, then all my efforts, everything was completely futile. So for me, in that sense, because of the nature of my work, just like Edward Slick, Bianca, and Augustus here, I'm doing something for somebody. It has to look good on them. Now, a perception and culture is very important. I must mention that I did grow up outside of Ghana, so it's very possible that maybe my criteria for beauty what is nice, what is not nice, what is flattering to a particular type of body, is probably slightly Europeanized. I admit that. And so when I came back to Ghana, obviously when you resettle, you need to take time to study or reconnect with the culture, understand what people value, the symbols, the colors. Apart from that, of course, I do think that white look great on black people and black looks great on white people. I mean, that's like basic, you know what I mean? I had a lot of issues initially when I decided to plunge into fashion. When people came to me and I thought I was, doing the right thing by giving them advice, and a lot of times, inadvertently and unwillingly ended up offending them. I was not tactless, I was just trying to be, I guess in a way I'm kind of sort of straightforward. I tried to polish that a bit over the years and say, politically correct things, not issues. I've had instances where I try to advise people and tell them that this is more flattering. This will bring out your beautiful, gorgeous bust and your amazing lips and whatever and your fantastic calves. But then some folks were very set in their ways. So I was torn between being an artist and being a commercial person and being a salesperson, because I was running a business and I wanted to sell. But at the same time, somebody walking out of my shop having left so much money, and yet I felt they didn't really quite look like I wasn't going to be happy bumping into them in town or being proud or saying that I'm the one who did it. It bothered me a lot. I must be honest. It really, really bothered me. And so I had to find ways. I almost became like a psychologist, like basically conning people into trying to wear something that I thought would flatter the person. Because we do come from a culture, and Augustus here just mentioned it, where Mr. Mensah saw Mr. Ansah's house and he likes it, so he wants the same thing. I had the same issues, Madame Mary went to church and saw Miss Agnes wearing a dress and comes to me and says she wants the same thing. And, morphologically, they are completely two different human beings, in terms of shape, in terms of color. And here I am busy trying not to offend Miss Agnes and tell her that you would look like a cupboard in this outfit, and it was really difficult. It truly was, because I wanted to be proud and happy, But then at the same time, I kept asking myself, am I trying to project my sense of what is beautiful on somebody? So it's very delicate. You need to, I don't know what Uncle Ansah here will say afterward, but for me, it was a learning process, and it was, of course, at some point, some customers probably just stopped coming to me, or sometimes when they came to the shop and I wasn't there, then that's a different thing, because I did have a rack with clothes, so I didn't participate in them choosing. They would pick up something, and even then, I would bump into them a golden tulip, and try to tell them, oh, why don't you come by the shop and this and that, and then when they come, if I can, when you come and bring the dress, I have some interesting ideas, so I could try and adjust something about it, because I really thought it was important. For me, it was, my clothes were like my children, and my customers were like my family. And so I was very emotionally connected to both the people who bought the clothes from me and the clothes themselves. So it was never commercial. I don't know whether that made me a good designer or not, but I went to bed feeling good about myself. And that was very important to me.
And the clients wept all night. Never mind. They'll get you back. Design. I'm actually challenged here to know what angle to take this topic here, because it's too broad. So it affects everything we do. And the young architect, I used to lecture some time ago at some university in England. I shan't drop names. But I used to lecture the principles and philosophy of fashion. What's your philosophy? And once you've established that, what's your methodology? How do you, okay, so you like creating evening wear. That's your philosophy. How do you interpret the evening wear? And coming back to Augustus, you see, simplicity is complicated, refined. To do simple for it to work is very difficult. When you leave college, you want to throw about 10 designs into one garment. You know, it goes from here, 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 here. I'm not talking about my department here, but I like architecture. Art is interrelated. The Scott House, I don't know if a lot of people have actually observed why it works. It is the inorganic and the organic working in total harmony. There's a big tree in that house, or no, in the compound, around which the house was put as the background to the tree. So the tree is that element. But that tree being that science to facilitate the effectiveness of that big tree. That's my architectural bit there. I spent some 4 months in architecture and I had a rationale. If I designed a house and somebody was stupid enough to pay me to put up that house and I got it wrong, to be sitting there staring at me for the rest of my life. So at least fashion is seasonal. When I put a garment on you, 3 months, it doesn't work. It's like, I don't know where that dress, so really, I've got another one. Hyperbole started in fashion. When we were at school, at one point we had these huge afros, and do anything, don't touch anybody's afro, because you see that was the design of the time. In the 60s, am I letting of the secret of my age? I don't want to go back to the 50s. Okay, it took you about 1 hour to get that perfect brown. You put your towel in hot water, you squeeze it, and you hold it, and then you go in the mirror to have the Western Picket look. And then an uncle comes and says, "Oh, Fifi." You go, "I'll kill you." Okay, we went through the Afro scene. Then after that, we came to the Tokyo Joe, where you move function here, and it is all a state of mind in our head, and